Hey there, Avra here with Cami. So in this quick video, we are going to take a look at how we can use Cami to help you get your students ready for the CAASPP test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the practice tests and show you how easy it is to bring it into Cami and then create auto-grading questions to save you time. So what I'll do is starting here at the Cami dashboard. So now we'll head to the My Computer button. And then I'm just heading to the appropriate folder on my computer and I'll grab a practice test. At this point, I may have opened the file before, but I'm going to head up here to the top right to this purple button that says New Copy. This brings my practice test file into Cami. At this point, let's scroll down and just take a look at what we have. We've got a passage of text here. And then we've got another short passage right here with a question. Let's start by telling Cami to read pages 2 and 3 and generate some practice questions for us. So I'll head over to the left-hand side to the question tool and I'll click. You'll notice now we have this questions AI panel here on the right. This part is absolutely optional. If you would like to generate additional questions, this practice test already has a question in it, but if you'd like to generate additional questions, I just want you to know how to do that. So I'll click here where it says generate, and then I'm going to go ahead and explore the different parameters here. So to begin with, this is a 6th grade passage, so I'll go ahead and tell it my grade level is 6th grade. And then I want to tell it what pages I want it to read. So I want it to read pages 2 and 3 for this set of questions. Then at the bottom here, I can tell what kind of questions I'd like it to generate. So I can either do multiple choice or short answer. So for this example, I'll choose multiple choice and I'll tell it to do 3 different questions. Now it's important to note that we do have these advanced settings right here. So if I click this, you'll notice that this has expanded and now I have a couple of additional options. The first is I can tell it how many answer options I want. So, do I want 2 or 3 or 4? So typically we choose about 4 answer options. That's kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4 or an A, B, C, D, if you will. And then we've got the option to choose difficulty level as well as depth of knowledge. So if you want this to be just written at grade level, that's the default. You can just leave it there. Or if you're working with certain students that maybe are struggling readers or reading above grade level, you can absolutely choose below or above grade level as well. Then for our DOK stuff, you can decide whether or not you want this to just be basic, like level 1 recall questions, or whether you want to head up into these higher levels of depth of knowledge. Okay, so what I'll do right now is hit generate questions. And what it wants me to do is it wants me to save this file to my Google Drive. So if you haven't already done that, it will prompt you to do that before it starts to generate the questions. Now, what Cami's doing is using an AI tool, Gemini, to actually generate some questions for you. It's important to note that this kind of AI doesn't interact with students. Students aren't chatting with any kind of chat bot. This is simply a teacher tool. It's also something where you as the teacher really want to control the learning environment and make decisions about these questions once they are generated. So I always think in terms of the 80-20 rule with AI. AI is going to do 80% of the work for us, and we as teachers need to go in and do the last 20, which means that you need to take a look and make sure that you're happy with the questions that are written, as well as which answer it's chosen. So just reading through all of that, making sure that it works for your learners is important. Now, let's talk about the options for these questions. When our students look at this, they would see something similar to what we're seeing right now. If you'll follow my mouse up here to this little student preview icon, I can click and we'll actually see what our students see. So they're going to have the passage of text here and that document that they can scroll through. And then here in the margin is where they'll find the questions right now, and they'd be able to select them. Okay, so this is a little student preview. I can go up to the top and choose exit, to get back into my teacher kind of building view, okay? Now I can click here and open each of these questions, and that way if I wanted to, I could come in and I could rewrite any of the answer options. I could even rewrite the question itself. I could delete any one of these answer options, and I can also add one in. Also, it's important to note that if you would prefer to have your students see the question on the page itself, you can choose to display it on the page. You can either click this little toggle switch, or you can just quickly and easily drag it right onto the page. You can format it a little bit so that way things will fit better on the page. And as you're doing that, what you'll notice is you get this black action bar that appears above the question. In here, you can do things like change the layout so that the answer options display differently. You can also change it from being the full question on the page to just simply a marker. So this little marker now says Q1. And what this does is indicates to students maybe where the answer might be found. So if you want to scaffold your students and give them a little bit of extra support as they're answering the question, you can use this as well. So you've got lots of different options here. We can randomize the order. We can show only the answers if you don't want to rewrite the questions, if questions were already written out. You can even offer a hint. If this is an AI generated question, the hint will also be generated. If you were to type your own questions in, you would also need to type in the hint. So that's how we can actually have Cami and the AI tool generate questions for us. But let's remember that down on page 4, we actually have an existing question that this practice test came with. So let's now take this and digitize it. Let's go over and go to the bottom of our questions here, and we'll see that we've got options to add more questions. This plus sign would allow you to write your own questions. This is going to allow us to convert the existing question, or we could generate more if we wanted. So we'll go ahead and tell it to AI convert, and I'll tell it to convert this document, and then tell it page 4. And now I'll tell it to convert the question. So we've got this question over here that's already written. And what it's doing is it's going to just digitize it, make it digital so that it will auto grade for you. So now if we scroll down, you'll see this last option here. Now this AI conversion has grabbed the letter A and B and C and D. It's important to note that if you didn't want those, you could delete those letters as well, or you could leave them in there. You can also always edit the other questions up here that have already been written to include letters as well. So once we have this set up the way that we want, what we'll do is simply head up to the share button at the top right. We'll click, and then we can choose create assignment right here. It'll create a Google Classroom assignment for us. In here, we can call this sample test. And then lastly, we just need to make sure to choose the appropriate class and students that we want to assign this to. Then we'll go down and hit assign. Now, let's take a look at what you'll see as a teacher. We'll go ahead and click on the assignment to open it. And then, because it's a Cami assignment, we'll head down here to where it says Open Class View. This works with any Cami assignment, whether or not you have questions in it. It opens up every student's activity or individual assignment here on one Cami page. You have all of your Cami tools in order to give feedback. And in this case, because we have questions, we can head up here, and instead of just looking at the pages, we can head to answers. From here, it's quick and easy for a teacher to eyeball and see how students are doing. Then you can notice that it's auto-graded for you. All you have to do is click here, and it will put the grade right there in the box for you. If for some reason you want to change one of these and mark it correct, Perhaps it's a short answer and students just misspelled something. You could always change it, and you can always change the grade. And remember, this is a quick and easy way to put your grades right into Google Classroom. So if you use the gradebook in Google Classroom, all you have to do is hit return, and you'll be returning the grade to the student the same way you would if you were in Google Classroom itself. Class View is a combination of Kami and Google Classroom working together. If you have any questions about AI questions in Kami or anything else about Kami, I hope you won't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much for watching.